At the very top of the planet stretches a place that only a few people have truly experienced, the Arctic. It is a vast realm shaped by ice and profound silence, where winter dominates most of the year. In this distant landscape, even the sun follows an unusual rhythm, disappearing below the horizon for months before eventually returning to illuminate the tundra with an endless glow of daylight. In this remote region, nature exists in its most raw and uncompromising form, yet its beauty is undeniable. The Arctic is a frontier where survival depends on endurance and adaptability, and every living creature must learn to withstand the harshness of the environment. The spirit of the Arctic wilderness lives through its animals. Polar bears wander across drifting sea ice like quiet monarchs, representing both incredible strength and delicate vulnerability. Arctic wolves move across the frozen terrain, their distant howls carrying through the stillness. Large herds of reindeer follow ancient migratory routes through valleys buried in snow, while muskoxen gather in tight defensive circles to guard their calves from approaching predators. Above this frozen land, Arctic terns undertake one of the longest migrations in the natural world, traveling across vast oceans and continents in a journey that repeats year after year. Beneath the icy waters, life is just as remarkable. Narwhals, often called the unicorns of the sea, glide through the cold depths, while shimmering schools of fish flash like streaks of silver beneath the frozen surface. But the Arctic is not defined by wildlife alone. It is a constantly shifting wilderness that tests the limits of human resilience. Indigenous communities have lived and flourished here for thousands of years, learning to interpret the winds, the movements of the stars, and the changing patterns of the ice in order to survive in a place many outsiders believe cannot support life. Their knowledge and traditions reveal an important truth: the Arctic is far from empty. It is a living landscape, rich with stories, culture, and enduring strength. To venture into the Arctic is to enter a world that feels both ancient and newly discovered, a place where every distant horizon may conceal something unknown, and every breath of cold air reminds us of the planet's untamed and powerful beauty. So the question remains, are you prepared to witness the wild spirit of the Arctic? Across the vast frozen wilderness of the Arctic, where blizzards blur the horizon and the ocean hardens into endless fields of drifting ice, one creature stands above all others: the polar bear. Recognized as the largest carnivorous land mammal on Earth, this extraordinary predator represents far more than a powerful hunter. It is a living symbol of life surviving at the very limits of possibility. An adult male polar bear can weigh more than 600 kilograms, yet it moves across the ice with surprising agility and quiet grace. Its fur, which appears pure white but is actually made of translucent hairs, helps it blend almost perfectly into the icy surroundings. Beneath that coat lies a thick layer of insulating blubber, protecting the bear from temperatures that can fall below -40 degrees Celsius. Its massive paws are specially adapted for life in this environment, acting like natural snowshoes that distribute its weight across fragile ice while also allowing it to swim through vast expanses of freezing water. What truly defines a polar bear, however, is its mastery as a hunter. Calm, patient, and calculating, it often waits beside the breathing holes of seals for hours, sometimes even days, remaining perfectly still until the moment of opportunity arrives. When a seal finally surfaces, the bear strikes with sudden and explosive force. In a land where food is difficult to obtain, every successful hunt is vital, providing nourishment not only for the bear itself, but also for cubs that may be waiting nearby. Mother bears, in particular, show remarkable determination and strength. They guide their young across dangerous stretches of shifting ice, teaching them the essential skills they will need to survive: how to hunt, how to swim through icy waters, and how to endure the relentless challenges of the Arctic. In this unforgiving environment, these lessons can mean the difference between life and death. Yet the Arctic is not only a place of harsh survival, it is also a realm filled with mysteries. Polar bears are capable of traveling hundreds of kilometers, navigating across constantly changing ice landscapes using instincts that scientists still do not fully understand. They can detect prey hidden beneath layers of snow or follow the faintest traces of seals across seemingly invisible paths. Some polar bears have even been documented swimming for days without rest. I saw crossing more than 100 kilometers of open water while searching for food. Achievements like these capture the paradox of the Arctic itself, a world where vulnerability and extraordinary resilience exist side by side. Despite their strength, however, even the polar bear is not immune to change. As rising global temperatures cause sea ice to melt and retreat, these animals must travel farther and hunt longer to find food. The frozen realm they depend upon, a vast palace of ice, is gradually shrinking, leaving their future increasingly uncertain. If the ice disappears beneath their paws, what will happen to the most iconic predator of the far north? To see a polar bear in its natural habitat is an experience that inspires both awe and humility. Its quiet movement across the frozen landscape carries an undeniable sense of power, yet also a reminder of the delicate balance that allows life to exist in such extreme conditions. The polar bear is more than simply an animal of the Arctic. It stands as a sentinel of the frozen north, a symbol of warning, wonder, and the enduring strength of nature itself. To truly understand the polar bear is to recognize both the breathtaking beauty and the profound fragility of the icy world it calls home. Across the drifting pack ice of the Arctic, where the ocean rises and falls with the tides and the cracking of ice rolls across the silence like distant thunder, another extraordinary animal appears, the walrus. With its enormous body, deeply wrinkled skin, and unmistakable tusk, the walrus stands as one of the most iconic residents of the polar seas, a powerful symbol of survival in one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth. The walrus is a true giant among pinnipeds. Adult males can weigh more than 1,500 kilograms and grow to lengths exceeding 3 meters. Despite this immense size, they move through the water with remarkable grace and efficiency. Their thick layer of blubber protects them from the freezing temperatures of both sea and air, while their short fur and complex network of blood vessels help regulate body heat when they climb out onto floating ice. Every feature of their anatomy reflects a long process of adaptation, an evolutionary design shaped over thousands of years to withstand life in the frozen north. Perhaps the most striking feature of the walrus is its pair of long tusks, which are actually elongated canine teeth that can reach up to a meter in length. These tusks serve many purposes. Walruses use them to pull their heavy bodies up onto ice floes, to create breathing holes in the ice, and to assert dominance within their social groups. When large males gather together, their tusks often clash in displays of strength, while deep, resonant bellows roll across the ice like the echo of ancient drums. Yet, despite their intimidating appearance, walruses are generally peaceful animals, relying more on loud displays and posturing than on actual fighting. Under the surface of the Arctic Ocean, the walrus becomes an expert forager. Its highly sensitive whiskers, known as vibrissae, act like delicate sensors, capable of detecting even the faintest movements along the ocean floor. With these whiskers, walruses locate clams, mollusks, and worms buried beneath layers of sand. Using powerful suction, they extract the soft bodies of these animals from their shells, leaving behind piles of empty husks on the seabed. During a single feeding session, a walrus can eat thousands of clams, dramatically reshaping the seafloor as it searches for food. Walruses are also deeply social creatures. They gather in enormous groups that can number in the thousands, crowding beaches and ice edges during the warmer months. The air fills with the sounds of their grunts, bellows, and splashes, creating a distinctive soundscape that defines the Arctic summer. Mothers care attentively for their calves, keeping them close while teaching them how to navigate the icy waters and survive in the harsh environment. Within these vast herds, the presence of many individuals offers protection, helping them stay alert to threats from predators such as polar bears and orcas. At the same time, the walrus has become an important symbol of environmental change. Its life is closely tied to sea ice, which provides a crucial resting platform where walruses can gather, breed, and remain safe from danger. As the Arctic warms and sea ice retreats farther from shore, walruses are increasingly forced to crowd onto coastal beaches. In these densely packed groups, panic can sometimes lead to dangerous stampedes. The disappearance of ice also forces walruses to swim longer distances and expend more energy, while making it harder for them to reach the clam-rich feeding grounds they depend on. For scientists studying the Arctic, the walrus represents more than just a remarkable marine mammal. It serves as a living indicator of the changing climate, its struggles reflecting the broader transformation of the polar environment. And yet, despite these challenges, the walrus continues to endure, just as it has through countless cycles of advancing and retreating ice throughout Earth's history. There is a quiet strength in the walrus's presence, as if it were carved from the very landscape it inhabits. Watching a herd resting together on drifting ice, their tusks glowing softly under the pale Arctic sunlight, offers a rare glimpse into a world that is both fragile and vast. The walrus is not merely an inhabitant of the Arctic, it stands as one of its guardians, a reminder that even in the most remote and seemingly desolate corners of the planet, life finds ways to adapt, survive, and call upon humanity to protect the frozen world that sustains it. Along the rugged cliffs of the North Atlantic, where powerful waves crash relentlessly against the rocks, vast flocks of white seabirds gather in astonishing numbers. These birds are the northern gannets. Built to endure the harsh realities of ocean life, gannets establish enormous colonies high above the restless sea. From afar, their gatherings resemble blankets of snow spread across the dark cliff faces. But up close, the colonies are filled with life and movement. The sharp cries of birds echo through the air, wings beat constantly, and the ledges bustle with activity. What truly sets the northern gannet apart is its remarkable hunting technique. From heights that can reach 40 meters above the water, the bird suddenly transforms from a gliding seabird into a living spear. Folding its wings tightly against its body, it plunges straight toward the ocean at speeds of more than 100 kilometers per hour. This extraordinary dive is made possible by several unique adaptations: a reinforced skull that withstands impact, air sacs beneath the skin that cushion the force of the plunge, and a streamlined body designed to slice cleanly through the water. Once beneath the surface, the gannet continues its pursuit. With strong wing beats, it chases schools of fish through the water before emerging again only moments later, often with a gleaming herring or mackerel firmly held in its beak. In the air, northern gannets display remarkable elegance. With wingspans reaching nearly 2 meters, they glide effortlessly on ocean winds, riding invisible currents with little effort. On land, however, their movements appear far less graceful. Among the crowded cliff ledges, they shuffle awkwardly among thousands of neighbors, navigating the dense colony with surprising patience. Yet their bright blue eyes, encircled by a thin ring of black, give them a striking intensity. In that gaze, there seems to be something untamed, as though the birds carry within them the restless spirit of the sea itself. For centuries, people living along these coasts have shared the landscape with northern gannets. In the past, the birds were harvested for both their meat and feathers. Today, they are protected in many regions, though they remain deeply woven into the cultural traditions and identity of coastal communities. Their presence along the cliffs has long symbolized endurance against wind, waves, and stone. But even these powerful seabirds face new challenges. Changing ocean temperatures are altering fish populations, while disease and human pressures place increasing strain on their colonies. In some places, empty spaces along the cliffs quietly remind observers that even the most skilled hunters of the sea rely on a balanced and healthy ocean. And yet, the sight of a gannet diving, like a white arrow dropping from the sky into the dark water below, remains one of nature's most extraordinary displays. Moments later, when the bird rises again with a flash of silver prey in its beak, it reveals a glimpse of the ocean's enduring vitality. The northern gannet is far more than a seabird. It stands as a sentinel of the coastal cliffs, a living link between sky and sea, and a powerful reminder of the untamed energy that still moves above the rolling waves. Far above the frozen oceans and windswept tundra of the Arctic, a small bird lifts into the air and begins a journey almost beyond belief. This bird is the Arctic tern, a creature no larger than a pigeon, yet one that carries within its light body the most remarkable migration known in the natural world. Every year, the Arctic tern travels from the Arctic to Antarctica and then back again, completing a round trip that can exceed 70,000 kilometers. In doing so, it follows the path of summer from one end of the planet to the other. The tern story begins in the Arctic. During the short northern summer, these birds return to rocky coastlines and open tundra plains to nest. Their speckled eggs are laid in shallow scrapes on the ground, exposed to the elements. Despite their small size, Arctic terns defend their nests with fierce determination. They will dive boldly at much larger intruders, whether foxes, seabirds, or even humans, their sharp cries cutting through the cold Arctic air. Under the endless daylight of the midnight sun, the chicks hatch and grow quickly. Within a short time, they must be ready to begin the extraordinary migration that awaits them. What makes the tern's journey so astonishing is not only the vast distance it travels, but also the rhythm of its life. By moving between the Arctic and Antarctica, the Arctic tern experiences more daylight than any other creature on Earth, living almost constantly in summer as it follows the sun between the two poles. From the icy waters of the north to the powerful swells of the Southern Ocean, the tern navigates with remarkable accuracy. Exactly how it accomplishes this feat remains a mystery that scientists are still trying to understand. Some researchers believe the birds sense the planet's magnetic fields, while others suggest they follow patterns of wind, ocean currents, and even the stars. Whatever the method, the route remains astonishingly consistent, passed down through generations like an invisible path connecting the ends of the earth. Though it appears delicate, the Arctic tern is built for endurance. With long, narrow wings, it glides effortlessly on ocean winds, often traveling for days with only minimal wing beats. It feeds along the way by catching small fish and crustaceans from the ocean surface, occasionally resting on drifting ice before continuing its long voyage. Across an entire lifetime, an Arctic tern may travel a total distance equal to nearly 3 journeys to the moon and back, an epic migration unmatched by any other animal. Yet despite this incredible resilience, the tern's existence remains vulnerable. Climate change, shrinking ice, and shifting fish populations threaten both its feeding grounds and breeding areas. At the same time, increasing human activity in the Arctic places additional pressure on the delicate ecosystems the birds depend on. Will this tireless voyager continue its ancient journey across the globe, or will the changing planet alter the path it has followed for thousands of years? To watch an Arctic tern soaring through the sky is to witness more than just a bird in flight. It is to see a symbol of endurance, mystery, and connection. Proof that even the smallest creatures can carry the greatest journeys within their wings. Across the vast, silent expanses of the Arctic tundra, where temperatures can plunge below minus 50 degrees Celsius and relentless winds sweep across the barren land, a pale figure moves quietly through the snow. Almost blending into the frozen landscape with eyes that gleam like shards of ice, the Arctic wolf stands as one of the most elusive predators on the planet. Often referred to as the ghost of the tundra, it represents resilience, mystery, and quiet authority, surviving in conditions where few large predators could endure. Though slightly smaller than many of its gray wolf relatives, the Arctic wolf is superbly adapted to life in the polar extremes. Its thick white coat not only shields it from the brutal cold, but also allows it to blend almost perfectly with the snowy terrain. Beneath that protective fur, layers of fat and powerful muscle help the animal withstand both the freezing climate and the long periods when food may be difficult to find. Unlike wolves that inhabit more populated regions, Arctic wolves rarely encounter humans. Their remote territories, far across isolated tundra landscapes, shield them from human expansion, allowing them to remain inhabitants of one of the last truly wild environments on Earth. Life in the Arctic demands constant adaptation to scarcity. The Arctic wolf relies on prey such as caribou, musk oxen, Arctic hares, and lemmings for survival. Yet hunting across the tundra is rarely easy. Prey animals are swift and widely dispersed across enormous distances, making every hunt a challenge. To overcome these difficulties, wolves depend on the strength of the pack. Working together, they coordinate their movements with remarkable precision, surrounding and testing their prey before launching a decisive attack. This cooperation allows them to bring down animals far larger than themselves. Each hunt becomes a struggle of patience and endurance, where failure may mean days without food, while success ensures nourishment for every member of the pack. Beyond hunting, however, the heart of wolf life lies in the bond between pack members. These relationships are strengthened by haunting howls that carry across the tundra, echoing through the frozen air like distant voices. These calls serve not only as communication, but also as reminders of connection in a landscape defined by isolation, proof that no wolf truly lives alone. New life begins in shallow dens dug into the frozen ground or sheltered beneath rocky outcrops. Within these simple refuges, wolf pups are born. Their survival depends on the care and protection of the entire pack, with each member contributing to their safety and nourishment. Through this shared responsibility, the Arctic wolf reveals both the fierce instincts of a predator and the deep loyalty that defines its family structure. Despite their presence in the Arctic for thousands of years, these wolves remain shrouded in mystery. Because they inhabit some of the most remote and inaccessible regions on Earth, far northern tundras and isolated islands beyond the reach of roads, Arctic wolves are among the least studied of all wolf subspecies. Scientists have only limited knowledge of their migrations, territories, and daily lives. Each rare sighting, photograph, or recording becomes a valuable glimpse into a hidden world few humans ever witness. The Arctic wolf is far more than a skilled hunter. It is a living symbol of survival at the very edges of existence. To encounter an Arctic wolf in its natural habitat is to witness the true spirit of the Arctic itself: beautiful, harsh, and uncompromising. When its howl rises across the frozen wilderness, it carries more than the voice of a predator. It becomes the voice of the tundra, echoing through snow and silence. Enduring through cold and solitude, the Arctic wolf stands as a reminder that life can persist even in the most desolate corners of the planet, fierce, united, and mysterious. It is the phantom of the North, a quiet guardian of secrets written deep within the ice. Across the vast white expanse of the Arctic tundra, where the horizon melts into the pale sky and winter dominates most of the year, lives a creature shaped by the relentless demands of ice and survival: the Arctic hare. At first glance, it might seem delicate. A small animal wrapped in soft fur in a land ruled by predators and severe cold. Yet behind its gentle appearance lies one of the tundra's most resilient inhabitants, a species as enduring as the harsh landscape it calls home. The Arctic hare is covered in a thick coat of fur that changes with the seasons. During winter, its fur turns completely white, allowing it to blend almost perfectly into the snow-covered terrain and remain nearly invisible to predators such as wolves, foxes, and birds of prey. When summer arrives, its coat shifts to tones of gray or brown, helping it merge with the rocky ground and sparse plants of the thawed tundra. This ability to change color is not merely a visual transformation, it is a vital defense, an evolutionary adaptation shaped over countless generations. Designed for life in extreme conditions, the Arctic hare can survive temperatures that fall below -40 degrees Celsius. Beneath its thick fur lies a layer of insulating fat that helps retain warmth in an environment where icy winds sweep across the land with cutting force. Its compact body reduces heat loss, while its strong hind legs provide remarkable speed. When threatened, the hare can sprint across the tundra at speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour, appearing as a sudden flash of white that disappears into the snowy distance. Yet survival in the Arctic involves more than escaping danger. It also requires enduring scarcity. Food can be difficult to find in such a barren environment, but the Arctic hare makes use of whatever the tundra provides. It feeds on woody plants, mosses, lichens, and frozen twigs that it uncovers beneath the snow. In some regions, these hares gather in groups that may include dozens or even hundreds of individuals. By clustering together, they gain warmth and protection, forming a quiet collective defense against the brutal cold. Life on the tundra demands constant alertness. From the skies above, eagles watch for movement across the snow. On the ground, wolves and Arctic foxes move silently through the landscape in search of prey. Despite these dangers, the Arctic hare endures, not through brute strength, but through speed, concealment, acuity, and extraordinary resilience. Its existence reflects a simple truth of the Arctic. Survival belongs not to the strongest, but to those best able to adapt. Today, however, the future of the Arctic hare faces new challenges. As global temperatures rise and the Arctic environment transforms, the seasonal snow cover that once protected the hare is becoming less reliable. Without consistent snow, its white winter coat may no longer provide effective camouflage. At the same time, shifting ecosystems could alter the delicate balance of plants and animals that sustain it. The question remains, will this ghost of the tundra adapt once again, as it has throughout its long history, or will its presence fade as the frozen world continues to change? To watch an Arctic hare racing across the snow is to witness the spirit of the North itself, a fleeting image of both strength and vulnerability. Shaped by ice, carried by the wind, and sustained by an unyielding will to survive, the Arctic hare stands as a quiet symbol of life enduring in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Across the immense tundras and snow-covered forests of the Arctic, where the rhythm of life is defined not by warmth but by endurance, moves one of the most iconic animals of the far north, the reindeer. Known in North America as the caribou, this species represents far more than a grazing animal of the frozen plains. Reindeer are tireless wanderers, masters of migration, and an essential part of the delicate web of Arctic life. What makes the reindeer especially remarkable is its ability to adapt to the extreme conditions of the polar world. Unlike most deer species, both males and females grow antlers. Each year, these branching structures are shed and then regrown, forming crown-like shapes that symbolize persistence in a land shaped by constant change. Their hooves also transform with the seasons. During the warmer months, the hooves become softer and wider, allowing the animals to move easily across marshes and the soft tundra ground. When winter arrives, the hooves harden and their edges sharpen, enabling reindeer to break through layers of snow and ice to uncover lichens buried below, one of their most important sources of nourishment. Reindeer are equally well protected against the Arctic cold by their thick coats. Their fur is made up of hollow hairs that trap pockets of air, creating powerful insulation that preserves body heat even when temperatures fall below minus 40 degrees Celsius. Yet the defining feature of the reindeer's life is movement. These animals undertake some of the longest migrations in the animal kingdom. Each year, enormous herds travel thousands of kilometers between wintering forests and northern calving grounds. Over generations, these journeys have traced vast, invisible pathways across the Arctic landscape. The passage of the herds influences the entire environment. Predators follow in their wake, vegetation is grazed and renewed, and the rhythms of the tundra shift with their arrival and departure. When hundreds or even thousands of reindeer move together across the open land, it can seem as though the Arctic itself has come alive, breathing and flowing as one vast organism. Despite centuries of observation, parts of their migration remain mysterious. How do these animals navigate immense, nearly featureless landscapes through blizzards, darkness, and the long polar night with such accuracy? Scientists believe reindeer may be able to sense Earth's magnetic field, using it as a natural compass to follow routes etched invisibly across the planet. Reindeer also hold profound importance for the people who live in the Arctic. For many indigenous cultures, including the Sami of Scandinavia, the Nenets of Siberia, and the Inuit of North America, reindeer have long been essential for survival. Their meat provides food, their hides become clothing and shelter, and their bones are crafted into tools. Over generations, traditions, livelihoods, and spiritual beliefs have grown closely intertwined with these animals. In the stark expanse of the tundra, reindeer are more than resources. They are partners in life. Yet the path of the reindeer is never free from danger. Severe winters can create thick layers of ice over grazing grounds, preventing access to food and leading to starvation. Predators such as wolves and bears shadow the herds, testing the vulnerable and the young. In modern times, the pressures of climate change and shrinking habitats increasingly threaten migration routes that have existed for thousands of years. Still, the reindeer persists, its fate deeply tied to the frozen landscapes of the north, much like the aurora that glows across Arctic skies. To watch a herd crossing the distant horizon is to witness both fragility and endurance. Their forms blend with the pale snow as though they belong to the land itself, timeless and inseparable from the tundra. When their antlers catch the soft Arctic light, they resemble figures drawn from ancient legend. The Arctic reindeer is far more than a wild animal. It is a wanderer of ice and sky, a living connection between nature and humanity, and a reminder that even in the harshest places on Earth, life does more than survive. It moves, it adapts, and it endures. Across the frozen tundra of the Arctic, where winter dominates most of the year and relentless winds sweep across vast, treeless plains, a dark figure stands out against the snow. This powerful animal is the musk ox. With its large body covered in long, shaggy fur, the musk ox seems less like a creature of the modern world and more like something that has stepped forward from a distant prehistoric age. In many ways, that impression is true. The musk ox is a living remnant of the Ice Age, a species that once shared the northern landscapes with mammoths and saber-toothed cats. Everything about the musk ox is designed for survival in extreme conditions. Its outer coat is made of long, coarse guard hairs that hang almost to the ground, protecting the animal from the cutting Arctic wind. Beneath this outer layer lies an extraordinary undercoat known as kiviut, one of the softest and warmest natural fibers in the world. This remarkable wool is about 8 times warmer than sheep's wool, allowing musk oxen to remain insulated even when temperatures drop below -50 degrees Celsius. Thanks to this natural protection, they can continue grazing calmly while snow settles on their thick coats. Their bodies are also built for the rugged terrain of the tundra. Short, powerful legs and wide hooves allow them to move steadily across frozen ground. Using these hooves, they dig through layers of snow to reach the mosses, lichens, and hardy grasses that sustain them during the long Arctic winters. Although the musk ox may appear solitary and stoic, it is actually a highly social animal that depends on the strength of its herd. Living in tightly bonded groups, these animals rely on cooperation for protection. When wolves or polar bears approach, the herd quickly forms a defensive circle with their curved horns facing outward, while the calves remain safely in the center. This ancient defensive formation, virtually unchanged since the Pleistocene era, turns the group into a living fortress and has helped the species survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Their horns, which sweep downward along the sides of the head before curving upward into sharp tips, give the musk ox a powerful and almost legendary appearance. During the brief Arctic summer, when the tundra awakens under the constant glow of the midnight sun, new calves are born and herds wander more widely in search of fresh vegetation. For a short time, the land offers abundance. Yet, even during these warmer months, winter is never far away. As autumn approaches, the musk ox's heavy coat thickens once again, preparing it for the return of darkness, deep snow, and relentless cold. For indigenous communities of the Arctic, musk oxen have long played an important role in both survival and tradition. Their meat has provided food, their hides have been used for clothing and shelter, and their valuable kiviot fiber has been prized for warmth and trade. Over generations, the animal has become woven into the cultures and stories of the North. Many traditional tales describe the musk ox not only as a provider, but also as a guardian of the tundra, a symbol of strength and endurance against the unforgiving cold. Today, musk oxen still roam parts of Greenland, Canada, Alaska, and Siberia. Although their populations were once pushed dangerously close to extinction because of overhunting, conservation efforts have helped them recover in several regions. However, their future remains closely connected to the changing Arctic environment. Rising temperatures are altering the tundra, introducing new challenges that could affect the survival of this ancient species. As the climate shifts, the musk ox's Ice Age heritage faces an uncertain path forward. Even so, encountering a musk ox in the wild feels like witnessing a piece of prehistoric history that still breathes in the present. Its dark eyes gaze calmly through the frosty air, as though holding memories of a much older Earth. The musk ox is far more than simply an Arctic animal. It stands as a living monument to endurance, a survivor of the frozen ages that still walks the tundra today, proving that some giants of the ancient world continue to endure.